There is so much musical talent in Korea. Like, will I ever scratch even 10% of it with these videos? I don't know. I don't know. If I do it for like 100 years, maybe. Hello wonderful humans of the internet, how are we? My name is Sam Scott-Thorne and I am a vocal coach based in Glasgow. Now if you'd like to meet and explore your voice a little more, you can find me on sstvocals.com. You can also find me on Patreon and various other social media platforms, and I'll put the handles down below and over there. I don't even know if that was the same run I did twice, but anyway, over there. Now, if you'd like to consider becoming a patron, you have access to things like early release of reactions, you can fast track reactions, become a reaction, there's special roles on my Discord server, and you have access to all my bonus content like my Vocal Anatomy 101 series and wee rants and whatnot. So consider becoming a patron and help shape my channel. Just like Mallory did, she has gotten in touch and asked me to check out a group called Pentagon. I think it's 2 people judging by the thumbnail, by the names of Jinho and Hui. I hope I'm saying that right. And she's asked that I check out a live performance of a song called Someday. So, I know nothing about them, never heard them before in my life. Let's just go and see what we think.
Someday 언젠가 우리가 꿈꾸던 일들이 눈앞에 펼쳐질 거야. 그날을 위해 더 걸어야만 하죠. 함께라면 두렵지 않죠.
Ooh, nice. They are smooth operators, these two. One excellent way to start this song. It's just very easy, stripped back. You're kind of like, feel like you're in safe hands. You can relax and just exhale. Gorgeous stuff. Their voices have quite similar qualities to them, but they approach things differently. So the first one, you could hear that kind of aspirate tone, a little bit more air coming through. Not too much, but just enough to give the whole vocal just a little bit of smoke to it. But it was very oral, so his nasal passage wasn't as engaged as the second guy. So they had very similar kind of sound, but the second guy had a little bit more nasal twang on there. That's where your velum will come down to meet the back of your tongue to close off that sound, a kind of sound. So if we take it away from the tongue just slightly, you get a little bit of that kind of compressed energy to it. So one was going the other one's going do you hear the difference there? There's just a little bit more nasal quality in the second guy than the first, but other than that they were quite similar, so I think their voices will blend together really nice. Let's keep going.
힘이 들 땐 함께했던 오늘을 기억할게. 다시 없음 소중했던 추억들 누구보다 믿어주던 너희들과 함께 someday 다시 웃을 거야.
Notice their mouth shape. Very, very steady. Doesn't really deviate much from this kind of just open and no more. They're letting their tongue do most of the work there. Da, 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 da. Even though the vowels are changing, they're not letting the jaw kind of affect that and open to widen. Apart from at that very last bit where he had a bit more of an ah kind of sound and he let more resonance through by dropping that jaw. This is not to do with the vocal per se, but I really like the way that their mics are set as well. There's a lot of heavy reverb on there. It's almost kind of been pulled back into the mix, so you sound like you're kind of listening to them in a bubble, if that makes sense. It's just very personal. It kind of drives the message home a little bit further than it would if it was a really dry mic and you were just getting like a really dry sound. Very, very nice.
하나하나 더해지는 바람의 크기만큼 저 하늘 위에 수놓여질 꿈들이
Excellent flips.
someday.
So, excellent flips there. That was fantastic. Da! Really, really nice. You need to allow your folds to go into a completely different position. They go from vibrating like this to like this. So in order to do that dead smooth, it's not the easiest thing in the world to do unless you've had a lot of practice, and he obviously has. He kind of has, it's a little bit more of a gentle touch than the other guy. The other guy's got a wee bit more bite to his sound. I really like the way that he was getting all these E kind of sounds in without spreading his lips too much. If you were to say E with a smile, it's really bright. It's almost quite sharp. He was taking it into this more enclosed place. E. Hear how it's just a little bit more dark, a wee bit more rounded, and more in keeping with what he was singing. They really, really know how to apply mouth shape, how to apply twang, how to apply all these tiny little elements in order to get their unique sound. Gorgeous.
힘이 들 땐 함께했던 오늘을 기억할게. 다시 없을 소중했던 추억들, 소중하게 지켜왔던 우리들의 꿈들을 믿는다면 언젠가 이루어질 거야.
Now here, you're seeing he has no choice. He has to drop that jaw in order to get a little bit more kind of just steadiness off of that sound. The higher you get, the more you want to make sure that everything's getting stabilized. And dropping your jaw really can help when you're dealing with bigger notes. Sounds kind of weird, but it just does. Getting a bit more into it and leaning into that sound can really help you not miss the mark. You can see his anchors are coming into play. You can see his neck ones. The vein is bulging out here. His sternocleidomastoid, which is this big rope-like muscle, that'll be helping to stabilize that larynx. Also through his torso. So that's why that kind of position comes in. He's really pushing into that sound in order to make those bigger muscle groups do the work so that the little ones of the larynx don't have to work as hard. It's all about spreading that effort. If you let all the effort happen up here, chances are you're going to run into problems. If you spread that throughout your body, there's more of a chance that you're going to get a more steady, even, and stronger, bolder sound. So, fantastic. Whereas with him, you can see he takes everything with a little bit more ease. He lets everything he lets the power take a backseat. Da-da-da-da-da. He's just letting it kind of slip out. Almost letting the air kind of carry that sound through. He's not looking for it to be super punchy and super loud. He kind of lets everything fall into this realm of like mist. Whereas the other one will push into that more powerful place. And you could kind of tell that was going to happen from the offset because that twangy thing gave it a bite. Twangy sound rather gave it a bite. And then the first guy was a wee bit more aspirate. So they're sticking to those roles. One will push it a wee bit further and the other one will keep everything just nice and full and airy sounding. Gorgeous work. I'm so sorry I'm pausing all the time. I'll give it a rest in a second. But he's now doing the flips. Also gorgeous, but you can hear there's a much more distinct sound when that flips because his chest voice is just a punchier sound. You get a lot more of that lift. It feels more like a pop into that high place rather than the other one which is which is really smooth and kind of airy the whole way through. They really do stick to their roles and it's so beautiful to see. He also, the second guy, has a really lovely vibrato. It's very, very understated. You almost can't catch it at times. That's where the thyroid cartilage rocks forward, allowing the vocal folds to oscillate. He has just got such a beautiful vibrato. It comes through at the ends of his phrases and almost like ninja vibrato. Like sometimes don't even notice that it's happening. Very, very smooth.
하늘에 수놓여진 별들이 우리의 길을 비춰주죠. 더 이상 헤매이지 않게 하나하나 더해지는 바람의 크기만큼 빛을 내려 반짝이는 별 저 하늘 위에 간직해온 우리 꿈들 모두 이루어지겠죠. 우리의 마음이 더해지며.
So now he's having to push himself into that beltier kind of energy. So he's also anchoring onto the sound. Now they're both pretty indistinguishable from each other. They sound very, very similar because he's having to change his recipe, his vocal recipe, in order to steady that sound. Otherwise, it would either be too like wispy sounding or it wouldn't happen. It would just kind of peter out, or the voice would break, or he wouldn't hit it. So to know that he just has that in his toolkit and he can apply it when he needs to and then fall back into his softer place afterwards, it's just delightful, really, isn't it? They're also very conscious of their mics, so rather than belting into it and overfeeding the signal, they are pulling back or tilting their heads away when they're hitting these harsher parts. Now, mic technique is something that you can only learn by being in the industry and gigging a lot or recording a lot, because if you belt into a mic and you overfeed the signal, it can't be edited out easily, if at all. So they've learned these wee tricks in order to let loose and cut loose, but not overfeed the signal of the mic. It's very, very clever stuff that they're doing. One thing I would say is that they've obviously got like a track that's doing harmonies in the background as well, but I would have taken that down a little bit just so I could have heard them belt a little bit better, just because they're pulling away. So the signals are kind of coming in and out with the track behind it. I would have liked to have seen that balance to be a bit more, but that's just me being a stickler in an editing sense, not in a vocal sense. Fantastic.
아, 네. 우리 펜타곤 우리 진호
Same. Oh. Every time I stop videos just before they end anyway. If that's going to be my superpower. It's the worst superpower on planet Earth, but I will still join the X-Men regardless. That was Pentagon. They were fantastic. I'd love to hear more. If you have any suggestions from them, then hit me up down in the comments and we'll go and take a look. But thank you so much to Mallory for suggesting it. You did not disappoint. Fabulous choice. So if you like that reaction, please give it a like and a thumbs up down below. And if you want to see more from me, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and anytime I have new content, you will be the first to know. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me. And how are we going to buy this one? A soft aspirate flip? Perhaps, maybe. So I guess all that's left for me to say is thank you so much for joining me, and please hit like and subscribe, and bye-bye. That sounds like crazy wake up. I don't like this. Oh, it's gonna be my head all day now. Anyway, bye. Love you.